Many races have been called the greatest race of all time for a vast variety of reasons, but today we are going to focus on a particular race from the American Le Mans series. There were 10 events scheduled for the 2009 season, with the 4-hour-long race at Laguna Seca on October 10th as the last event. In this race, there were 30 cars competing for 4 classes: LMP1, LMP2, GT2, and GT Challenge. There were 9 entries in the prototype divisions with 6 P1 cars and 3 P2 cars. The rules in 2009 were a bit different than they were in recent history, with both classes having nearly the same pace. P1 cars produced about 175 more horsepower, but P2 cars were 125 kilograms lighter, creating a very diverse and competitive field. There were 21 entries in the GT divisions. 13 were of the GT2 variety, which weighed in at 1,125 kilograms and had about 600 horsepower. The remaining 9 cars belonged to a spec class using Porsche GT3 Cup cars. There were actually 31 cars on the track, though. The US government had invested in the Dyson racing team to experiment with green technology. Dyson ran the numbered 16 P2 car that was unclassified because they were testing a new type of bio-isobutanol fuel. This test was very successful, and the fuel would be approved for the 2010 season, where the team was able to finish 4th in the championship. The Dyson Racing entry was not the only eco-friendly car on the grid. The number 48 P1 car was equipped with a hybrid system from Zytec. Additionally, Michelin was sponsoring the Green X Challenge that was open to cars that were running E10 or E85 fuels. There were a couple of other cars that should have been in the race but weren't. The Primetime Race Group was a mid-pack team competing in the GT2 category using a Dodge Viper, but they were involved in a crash in the previous race and the car could not be repaired. Eco Racing utilized a Radical SR9. They participated in practice but did not qualify or race. The race was incredible, but the championship wasn't that exciting. After 9 races, Acura had secured the championship for both P1 and P2 categories. Flying Lizard and Snow Racing had a massive lead in GT2 and GT Challenge and seemed undefeatable, but their opposition still had a slim chance if they were to retire. In qualifying, Acura dominated the prototype categories by securing 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Corvette Racing had performed well in the GT2 category, securing 1st and 3rd. The challenge cars were packed tightly together due to it being a spec series. With the grid set, the teams were ready to start the race.
Category starting up front.
Like I said, look for Simon Pagenaud in the 66 to get a big jump. Green flag's out.
And he's already jumped right now. Pagenaud out to the lead. He'll race it down into turn 2, but you heard David Brabham say tires are going to be an issue. Trying to get temperature, you already saw smoke off the tires of a bleed.
It didn't take long for the first full course yellow to come out as 2 prototypes collided 4 minutes into the race. But the early race drama didn't end there, as the number 90 E92 BMW M3's engine blew up during the caution. Even the pace car got into it with some light rallying. Soon it was ready to go green, and many good battles ensued. There were excellent battles in the GT2 class, the GT Challenge class, and in the prototype classes. The M3 was chasing the Ford GT in GT2.
Lowered the wing. Per the rules, they let them lower the wing, and when they did that, they got to go up 1 restrictor size, so that added a little bit of horse.
The top 3 in the GT Challenge class were running together.
The forces not like you would need them. Looking back at the battle for 2nd and 3rd as well, but Safran, look at this.
And there were prototypes that were trying to overtake each other.
And blue 48 slides up inside Clint Field going.
It wasn't long before a Porsche GT3 driver got stuck in the gravel, and the number 20 Dyson Racing Mazda broke down at the top of the corkscrew. This full course yellow was nearly 50 minutes into the race. Nearly every car came onto pit lane to get fuel and tires.
It was the number 4 car that was first off the pit road, but pit lane is extreme.
Soon, it was time to go back to green flag racing. In the first corner melee, the number 4 Corvette, driven by Oliver Gavin, showed extremely poor judgment and caused a multi-car pileup, bringing out another caution. 2 GT Challenge cars, the remaining BMW M3, the number 9 championship leading P1 Acura, and of course the number 4 Corvette were all damaged in the incident.
Couldn't get stopped and really clocked every. Look at the damage. There goes the hood.
This will bring out another full course caution. One of the challenge cars with a problem? Yes. Milner in that gravel, and there's probably an extra 20 feet at the end of that front straightaway is that very tight corner, and I think it's easy to get in there and become indeed. So Ali Gavin did get a piece of the number 9, the Patron Highcroft entry. How big a bullet did he dodge?
Meanwhile, the number 4 Corvette would swiftly be repaired so that it could spend some well-deserved time in the penalty box and so that it could block cars and protect its sister car, the number 3. The Ferrari F430 would suffer a cooling leak and retire from the race, solidifying the championship for Patrick Long and Bergmeister in the number 45 Flying Lizard Porsche.
What the next step is still being
You know, you can turn down the ECU and gain mileage. You can pull back the RPM, gain more mileage. And if you could gain a full pit stop advantage, you know, that's huge, depending on what cautions you do.
Look at Mollem right now, all over the back of the number.
So it is probably off. Whether it's even in the percentage range, they couldn't really tell me, but it is an effect, and especially on the brake. So the car's starting to get its battle.
With the race nearly halfway over, there were many excellent battles all over the track in the prototype classes and in the GT classes. Unfortunately for Snow Racing, they weren't able to enjoy the battles, as their GT3 Porsche was pushed to the garage, opening the door for Group Orange to potentially win the championship. All they had to do was win the race. It was around this time that the number 69 GT3 Porsche decided it was time for another full course yellow. Soon it was time to restart, and this time it was clean. This would be the last full course yellow of the day, and there was still 1 hour and 54 minutes of green flag racing left to enjoy.
Yeah, there could be plenty of action down there. That's one of those places that just seems to bring it on. Now Brabham clearing Shane Lewis, working his way to the front. Now let's go back to the battle in GT2. The 45 and the 3, Patrick Long in the silver and red 45 Flying Lizard Porsche, and then the bright yellow number.
The announcer mentioned the GT2 battle between the number 45 and the number 3, foreshadowing what was to come, but for now there was a different Porsche to worry about. The number 18, driven by Richard Westbrook, was in second, ahead of the Corvette in third. Johnny O'Connell and his number 3 Corvette did not race him cleanly as he forced Westbrook off at turn 2.
I think I'll just kind of put you over there a little bit. Now, remember the spin that Johnny had at Petit Le Mans? Thank you, I'll push you over there. And when he spun,
The number 4 Corvette, driven by Beretta, was 11th in class, but continued to pressure Westbrook to relieve the pressure from his teammate in the number 3 car.
7th in the GT2 category.
Now the second Corvette comes by. Now a good repass. Richard goes to the inside, takes position, and he will run him off if need be this time.
He's like, no, I got pushed around by one of you bumblebees just a minute ago. I'm not going to let it happen again.
Now it was time for the number 4 team to make themselves look like amateurs again, as they crashed into the Dyson Racing biobutanol-fueled entry and ended their race. Of course, the number 4 would be repaired quickly and sent back out on track again.
What happened here on board? This is turn 10, approaching turn 10. Oh, he got into the Dyson car, which explains why it's on pit road. Look at here.
We see it kind of after the fact there, but that was interesting. It seemed like the 16 was well and truly passed before he got that contact. It was right front to left rear.
Could we say the 4 car's not having a good day?
That's what I said earlier. It's not having.
The weather was starting to have an effect on the performance of the cars as the fog had begun to roll in and the temperatures had dropped into the 50s, or about 12.5 Celsius. To combat the changing conditions, Michelin began to use a softer tire compound to regain grip. Dunlop likely did the same. The number 18 then put on a fine display on what cold tires feels like during a pit out shortly afterwards. 3 hours into the race, the championship was awarded to the number 9 Acura in the P1 class. This was when the perfect storm had come together. It was the last race of the year, the championships were decided, new regulations were coming, and some drivers were retiring. This lessened the consequences of crashing and heightened the competition to an extreme for the finale of the decade. With 49 minutes left to go, the number 3 Corvette made its final stop shortly after the number 45 car. The prototype battle began to heat up as well. Fernandez in the number 15 P2 car had never won at this track before, and the number 16 P1 car was driven by De Ferran. This was his last race, his last chance to win. Both of these drivers were going to give it their all as the clock counted down. The gap was closing.
All race long, Adrian Fernandez, we talked about it. Does he have a car to win overall? And the pressure now squarely on Gilles De Ferran's shoulders as they flash up the corkscrew. Down through 9, the right-hander, turn 10.
Adrian's faster has been catching him like crazy, but can he get by? That's the question. And where? Remember, the 66 car has better straightaway speed. Just going to get out muscle.
Once again, through the corkscrew.
Fernandez was catching De Ferran. Lap after lap, Fernandez looked for an opportunity to pass, and he finally got it. But unfortunately for him, he had less straight line speed.
Yeah, but watch this. Here's the straightaway I talked about before. Watch.
Down the front straightaway.
Use that button. Use that button to stay ahead of him. Use the button.
What button? These guys don't got pushed to pass.
And De Ferran back up the inside, another braking duel into turn 1.
They've got a good sense of rhythm around the place. They're both giving full commitment levels right now, 100%.
Fernandez gets held up a little bit there by the GT2 Corvette. They're back on it as he heads up the hill, but not with the preferred line through turn 6, so that'll drop him back a little bit. Just 0.4 of a second split the two at the line the last time. That was your GT2 second place car, Jan Magnussen.
Fernandez's car doesn't recover its speed as quickly either as the 66 P1 car.
Yeah, but the traffic works both ways, and right now De Ferran gets caught in it as well as. And now Fernandez got caught, and that's the GT2 leader, I believe, the 45.
Until the number 15 car lost traction, slowing down the number 45 Porsche in the process and allowing the number 3 Corvette to close the gap. 10 minutes to go, and great battles were brewing in P1, P2, and GT2.
Yeah, that's the battle in GT2. Jörg Bergmeister for the lead in GT2. That is the 45 and the 3, and it doesn't get much closer than that. That's what it looked like for the overall lead moments ago, and right now Patrick Long, as his rearview mirror is full of Jan Magnussen in that number 3 Corvette.
Actually, it's Jörg Bergmeister in there right now, and he does indeed have a bunch of Corvette right in the rearview mirror there. They're both these cars. That's why they're driving so hard. They're really running down. This is for their.
Where the Porsche seems to pull a little bit.
8 minutes to go. Adrian Fernandez in the number 15 gets a call to change the fuel map. No need to save fuel.
GT2 on the right, overall on the left. P1.
Mixture one and go for it.
Look at the traffic here. That is an ALMS challenge car in the way of this battle a little bit. They clear it, but it has allowed Magnussen to park all over the bumper. Will they be and move under braking here into 11?
Not this time, Brian. He looks to the inside to get a better run.
Sleeves that they didn't like, and there it is. There it is. Magnussen gets it done.
But can he hold it to the inside? Yes, no.
Yes,
Here
no.
comes. Bergmeister with the double pass. Perfect.
Get in there.
Get in there.
Oh, that was almost getting in there.
Get your traffic up there. Get him when you can.
Danny Binks, get them when you can. They've got that traffic in front.
I like Danny as a corner man. He's pumping his driver up. He's getting them all up on his adrenaline right now. Which is, you know, they got less than 5 minutes. Look at
this move around the outside.
And it's going to work. I think it's going to work.
He can't hold it. Borgmeister takes the position back over, but Magnussen, throwing caution to the wind, will do anything to take this victory. Strong, that move. He almost pulled it off, Dorsey.
Yeah, I mean, in the running. Oh, wow, right on the outside edge there. That was a close.
Off the edge of the track, and now prototype traffic going to split this battle a bit. As the daylight fades away.
Well, he's got the high beams on and try to blind as much as he can George Bergmeister in front of him. George's not looking in the rearview mirror anyway. He doesn't care about that.
I think he's probably turned the mirrors down.
I think they've got 2 laps. Is all they got.
Come ahead.
Remember when I spoke with George Bergmeister earlier in the race after his first stint, he said the car feels really good, but when I get behind another car, I suffer a lot of understeer. So that looks like what's happening now. Every time that they get into traffic, he loses that edge a little bit and gives Jan a big advantage.
It's about to happen right now, Jamie, as you said it. They're going to catch the Patron car. Both of them get by.
Sort of.
A little bump there. Watch for the outside pass. He's going to go for it here, I think.
Oh, look at that in the pit lane. What will the officials have to say about that? Magnussen uses pit out as the way to get by.
Now hit your mark. Hit your mark.
Danny Bink says nothing wrong with that.
No, he's saying.
Oh, the officials now. The transmission has come in. Let the 45
Look
go.
at this, though.
You shortcutted the course. The 45, the 3 is let him by, and now one more lap.
Both these drivers don't really clearly understand what happened right there. They're being told, let him by, go get him, go get him.
You don't think they clearly understand?
Watch
Magnussen
this.
knows exactly what he did, and he also knows he's got less than 2 miles to do it again. Bergmeister has a reprieve, but it's just about 2 miles worth of it. The leaders have taken the white flag.
When the
This
white
is it,
flag
the
dropped,
last lap.
both GT and prototype battles for the lead were within 0.4 seconds.
Now, as dark as it is, but they are battling.
Can he make it? That whole thing right now rests on, can DeFerrin go without running out of fuel? Can he make this last time round?
Underneath the bridge, was that out from underneath the corkscrew?
He's
Fernandez
right there.
all over the back of him. This is into the corkscrew. Fernandez running out of time. Can he do it in turn 11? Does DeFerrin have the fuel? It's downhill from here. Can he save a little bit, Dorsey?
Remember the brake zone at the hairpin that we made.
That's where it happens.
He's going to try it here again, I guarantee you.
It's the only place it can happen, but DeFerrin pulls about a car length through the apex. You're almost there. Is the fuel, does he have the fuel to get it done? Right in front of him is the battle for the 45 and the 3. They're going to have another lap. The checkered flag falls. DeFerrin in his final race takes the victory, but the battle in GT2 rages on.
And here comes Magnussen with the Corvette running around the outside. Will he stick there? They're going to hit.
Oh, they bumped. And now the 3, Magnussen loses that battle, drops wheels to the outside.
And I guarantee you he'll put a fender on him this time. Last lap.
Out of the corkscrew. Through turn 9, the left-hander. A right-hander, turn 10, the very fast turn 10. Then the heavy braking for 11. If Magnussen is going to get the job done, it has to be right now. Too far back.
Unless a dive bomb. Not going to happen.
He's going to try at the exit. Oh, he bumps him, hits him at the exit, loosens him up. Bergmeister drives him to the wall, down the front straightaway, rubbing into the wall, and he crashes him big.
Oh, they're not going to like that one.
No one is going to like that when the checkered flag falls. It's
Look at this, right at you. They're up against the wall there.
They're rubbing over there, and you can't
Bergmeister
play that
was
game.
wrong for intentionally crashing Magnussen on the drag race to the finish line, and both drivers received a 2-race probation, but it was an iconic moment in motorsports history, and racing fans will be re-watching this clip for generations. Click the playlist on the screen to learn more about motorsports history. I have included a link in the description to the unedited final 8 minutes of the race.